For the species profile tonight, I'm going to do the Hoary Elfin, Cooperates folios, and this might fit in with John's talk because this is one where maybe sometime down the road we might need a new subspecies. It's one of these things that is kind of a, maybe it's necessary, maybe not. This is the Hoary Elfin that's found up in Okanagan County. Now, many of us have been over to Ides area over on the Tahuya Peninsula where we see the Hoary Elfin in the springtime. But it looks a little different than this. We'll see a comparison at the end. But notice how dark this little elfin is. Its larvae feed on pinnakinnick, and in fact it's on pinnakinnick here. Archocephalus uva ursi.
Yeah.
Picture the egg, little 7/10 of a millimeter egg, very typical of Lycaenids, kind of like a squish chemist ball in shape. And here's the first instar larvae. Very typically, the first instar larvae of many species have proportionately long setae or hairs, and in this case, the head is shiny black. Second instar. Again, pretty typical of Lycaenids. The setae or hairs get a little more spiny, a little stiffer. And as the larva develops, this is in the third instar. Now we're up to about 7 millimeters, which is a little over a quarter of an inch. And the larva suddenly turned green. Previously it was this kind of a brownish green, and then it turns fully green. Here's the feeding patterns on the leaf, very typical feeding. These little guys, by the way, eat a lot of leaves. It's amazing how much they can go through. Usually when I try to rear these, I'll go to the nursery and get 4 or 5 potted plants of pinnakinnick, and by the time they get reared up in pupae, they've pretty well wiped them out. They eat a lot of leaves. Here's the final instar. This guy's feeding not only on leaves, he's feeding on the leaf stems. Munching down on that thing. Another one up here. Very green. They develop this very nice side stripe, this green stripe. Another view of the same larva. They're quite handsome. What was the size on this one? It was 14. So they're a little over ½ inch done.
Now it looks like there's a sort of, in the next picture especially, little chevron markings. The next one?
On the next one.
Yeah, is it sort of like these angled up chevron markings? Are those actual, or is that more imagined?
You mean up here?
Yeah.
Oh, they're real, but they're pretty faint. Some of the other hair streaks get very distinct chevron markings, but this was pretty faint. As I recall, well, I don't recall. I was going to say something about the Tahuya ones. The pupa is very typical of Lycaenids. It's kind of like a ugly brown oval that's swollen on the one end and a little less swollen on the other. It's real typical. They overwinter as pupae. They generally have some kind of tie down. This one you can see is some silk strands sort of anchoring it down, and they're usually down in the duff underneath the understory. Well, understory, you know. The pinnakinnick only grows this side of star, so it's really understory. Here again is the adult, and again, notice how dark it is. We're going to compare this to the one we have over the Hood Canal area, over the Tahuya Peninsula. Quite a bit of difference there. Notice especially, well, of course the color is one thing. The ones on Tahuya are pretty red as opposed to pretty gray. Also notice this area. There's a central white line, which both of them have. But notice this area on the one from the Okanagan. See how that's infilled with brown color well above the line? While the one on in Tahuya is pretty much all hoary, all gray in that area. And there's quite a few other differences. If you look at them for a while, you can spot a number of other things. But to me, they seem like pretty different. The immature stages look very, very similar. I can't see anything significant there. But John, do you have any ideas whether this could someday be a different?
Well, I know that there's specimens in the American Museum of Natural History from the Tenino area with the name that Sherlock applied to them, which was Incissalia polios teninoensis. So he never got around to describing it. The problem was multiplied now because we're not sure that the Tahuya and the Puget Prairie populations are identical to start with. They actually seem to be segregated. And then there's two populations in Oregon that are coastal that haven't been described either. So everybody's kind of waiting to see how this all sorts out. There's one in Northern California that has been given a name, and that's Maritima. So the issue becomes, well, how many names do we want in Calocaris polios?
Right.
Have they done DNA testing?
Yeah, DNA between, within a
Among
given
all?
species, yeah, it doesn't show anything. And it's not unusual, actually, that DNA doesn't show much within a species. DNA, in order to, you had a total genome, you might be able to, but the DNA markers that they're using aren't sufficient.
Okay, well, anyway, possibility of a subspecies someday. Meanwhile, when you go up to Moses Meadows, this is the species or the form you're going to see up there. Anytime you have that carpet of kitty connector around, in the springtime, you'll see these little guys flying around. That's it. Thank you.